Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaKadosh, the Barnes the Apostles, and Elders Great Millstone for teaching us His truth. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, the ancient Hebrew, by Hashem is the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Background lesson, as you see in the title, following not the way of the heathen. Going back to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2, and once in a while we're to stay away from these pagan and wicked holidays, and right here within this article, you can see why. Now it says 6 on the way to a birthday party are killed after a train hits an SUV. So that right there is pretty much Yahweh Shemashai showing you that he's against these things, man. We're not to be partaking nor celebrating it. Now we're going to read a little bit more into it and get a couple scriptures that came to mind to be a short lesson through the Spirit. Now it says 5 of the dead were identified as a couple and their children. So the Lord took out a whole family, man. At Hebrews 10 and 31, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Now you have many of our people that are hearing and receiving these warnings, and they're just completely disregarding it. It's going through one ear and out the other, and ultimately, it's not for them in general. But many of our people are going to continue to partake and celebrate these pagan and wicked holidays, even after receiving these warnings. Why? When you go into Hebrews 10 and 26, it says, "For if we sin willfully after we receive the knowledge of the truth, there made no more sacrifice for sin." So you're no longer covered, since you're pretty much sinning willfully, knowing what you're doing is wrong, and you continue to disregard those warnings that you receive, which is ultimately, by the way of Yahweh by Shema Shai, you're going to get what's coming to you, man. The consequences of your actions. And what's in this right here just goes to show that Yahweh by Shema Shai is against these things. We're to stay away from it. We're not to partake in these things, man. What's in dealing with Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, or as people like to call it today, Thanksgiving, Easter, and all these different things. A lot of it deals with, idol worship, to just look into these things. A simple Google search can tell you these things, man. But let's continue on. It says 5 members of a family and a friend who were on the way to a birthday party were killed after the SUV in which they were traveling was struck by a train Saturday evening at a quiet railroad crossing in Plant City, FLA. The local authorities said the wreckage of the white 2020 Cadillac Escalade looked like a soft drink can that's been smashed. It's going to show how heavy that judgment is. Tore up the whole car. Man, I saw that the whole family got taken out, man. So that was heavy judgment from the Lord right there, man. Once in Hebrews 10 20, and 31, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And many of our people are without the fear of Yahweh, especially even after receiving these warnings, man. I'm just doing it for my kids. I'm like, man, yeah, you get your kids destroyed. That's what you're finna do. Now, so the record of the white 2020 Cadillac Escalade looked like a soft drink can that's been smashed. And just, going back to the point, these are the excuses that Jake likes to make in order to continue to, celebrate and partake in these things, man. They're looking for an excuse to party and just do whatever they want, man. But the Sheriff Chad Chronister of Hillsborough County said at a news conference on Saturday, adding that the impact with the train caused the vehicle to catapult and flip violently several times. And you can look up, videos or just see videos, from time to time of just how damaging a train hitting a car is, man. You're like literally never making it out alive if you're, hitting a train directly, or, receiving a direct impact from that train. And you can see the immense damage that it causes, man. But as 5 of the 7 passengers were ejected from the vehicle and died at the scene. The driver was transported to a hospital in a serious condition and later died. The authorities said the front passenger, who was taken to the hospital, remained in critical condition early Monday, but was expected to live. A spokeswoman for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said the family and 2 friends were on their way to Quinceañera. So this was Jake, man. This was our people. And as you know, Yahweh must a lot harder on our people, man. Because the Lord is dealing with us, and He especially told us to stay away from these things, to not partake nor celebrate in these pagan and wicked holidays. But once again, only the elect will hear and receive this knowledge and understanding, of this truth, and will take heed to these warnings. But many of our people that's of this world is going to continue to do what they want to do, thinking that there's no consequences of their actions and that nothing's going to happen. Well, what do you know? Look what happened right here. 6 on the way to a birthday party are killed after a train. I mean, come on. Now let's get the scriptures at hand. Jeremiah 10 and 2. Like I said, not going to be a long lesson at all. Now it says, thus said Yahweh Shema Shai, learn not the way of the heathen. And that's dealing with all these different pagan and wicked holidays that you see today, that Jake loves to celebrate and partake in. Once in dealing with Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, once in even your own birthday. As it does say, Yahweh Shema Shai, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Now, verse 3. Now it says, for the customs of the people are vain. Now this is pretty much going into, Christmas. And it should be, clear as day of what the scripture right here is speaking of. For those that want to be ignorant and say, it's not speaking of that. But you're about to see, for the customs of the people are vain. They're wicked. Now it says, for one cutteth a tree out the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. Now, what does that sound like? What do you see within these, Christmas movies where it's snowing and they're traveling to go and get a tree and they chop it down? I mean, come on. Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold ornaments. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. So pretty much got the rest of the verses to go to show, it's even speaking of, Christmas and just these pagan holidays in general, man. And what's in why we're to stay away from it. Now, so John 4 and 22, now says, ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. And many of our people don't even know what they're partaking in, or what they're celebrating. Jake just looked for the excuse to party and so-called live it up, Especially dealing with the New Year's Eve and all that. Jake going on parties, cookouts. And that's why you see tons of people being taken out on those days, man. And look what, last year with Christmas. Your Lord struck this place with a heavy, cold storm, man. Super cold weather where people weren't able to, drive on roads. People weren't able to travel to go see their families. What's in Yahweh has shown you that he's against these wicked and pagan holidays, and we're not to be celebrating it, as we just read in Jeremiah 10 and 2. One more time, John 4 and 22. You worship, you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Many of our people want to do not even know what they're partaking in. And we warn our people that we're not to be celebrating or partaking in these things. I'm just doing it for my kids, man. I'm not doing it for what the origin or what it really started as. I'm doing it for my own reason. I'm doing it for my kids. Snap. Well, guess what? You need to get you and your kids destroyed, man. And he was 10:26. Yeah, you received the warnings. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received is not. One more time, Slakia. It says, for if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth. So after you have been made, known of what you've been doing is wrong, that you've been warned, and you continue to disregard that and do what you've been warned not to do, there are made no more sacrifice for sin, so you're no longer covered under the blood of Yahweh Shai. Because you're doing it willfully. Even after receiving this knowledge. So let's keep going to in Isaiah 58, how we're to lift our voice as a trumpet to warn our people of their transgression. But once again, only the elect will receive and understand this thing, man. That's only who it's for. Now this is Amos 5 and 21 through 23. Got a few more scriptures. Now it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assembly. So another scripture to help prove that the Lord is against these pagan holidays, man. Verse 22 says, though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beast. Take thou from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. And you can see just the many judgments and the many things that the Lord does, especially on these specific days, man. Which can just help further prove that the Lord is against it. Now we got about 3 more, man. That'll be that. As Ecclesiastes 3 and 8. And also just help, push that point across, because many of our people are in the wrong spirit. They're in that, as in the days of Noah's spirit, man. Not having a care in the world of what's going on, disregarding the warnings, taking these things, as a joke and making it out to be a light matter. When the Lord is getting ready to destroy this place, man. And you see Jake come out and say, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. YOLO, you only live once. That's the type of spirit that our people are in, man. Things that they say. This goes to show how destroyed and far gone and wicked our people are, man. But Ecclesiastes 3:8, just to bring that point home. Now, this is a time to love. Let's see if I can get it. Let's get the first verse and we'll get the where we were. This is to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And many of our people are just want to constantly be in that, party and lofty type of spirit. When Yahweh Shema Shai is getting ready to destroy this place, man. Especially dealing with IUIC. They're in the wrong type of spirit, man. Especially with the vibrations that they're pushing out onto our people. Like we're not heading to some very evil and scary times, man. As if Yahweh Shema Shai is not getting ready to kick things off. But let's go back to where we were. Now let's go back to verse 8. Now this is a time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. And guess what? We're not in a time of no love. Of peace. Yahweh Shema Shai is getting ready to turn the place on its head, man. All hell is getting ready to break loose. It's once again going to show the times that we are in and how our people are on the wrong type of spirit, man. As you see people are holding parties and all these different things. We're in that as the days of Noah's spirit, man. And look what happened. They got taken out. That's Isaiah 24:11. Now it says there is a crying for wine in the streets, especially as we just read right here. How they're getting ready to celebrate this person's quinceañera, which is dealing with Jake, dealing with Issachar. And they especially, be heavily drinking, on that day. Dealing with the adults and all that. So a lot of people are looking to, let loose and have a time to relax and all that and party. And look what happened. The Lord took them out. Judgment, man. Especially just coming to these last days. Many people are going to be seeking and crying for that wine, which is ultimately, going into this truth, this knowledge and understanding. As, people will be drinking to, get away from the stress, to let loose and relax a little bit, especially when all hell is getting ready to break loose. But what's just mainly dealing with this truth. Because how many people are going to be seeking out the prophets, begging and crying for this knowledge, this understanding of what to do, the names to call upon. But Isaiah 24:11 now says there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone, the enjoyment of this world is coming to an end. And I basically kind of went into that in one of my latest lessons. I think we pretty much got all we needed to help push the lesson across, and just going to show what's in Yahweh Shema Shai against these pagan and wicked holidays, and no reason why we're to stay away from it, man. Because Yahweh Shema Shai will take you out. They were to fear the Lord, man. And many of our people continue to disregard his warnings and just take it lightly, as if Yahweh Shema Shai can't take him out in a snap of a finger. But pretty much the main point on that. Like I said, not be a long lesson. I do want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Shema Shai, B'Shem Kadash. That born to the apostles and all great millstone for teaching us his truth, peace, and blessings. To the hopeful, like Shalom. See you next one. Lord willing.